Hey guys, welcome back again to another video. This video, we will start learning how to code in Solidity. And to do that, first you will need to search for Remix IDE. And the first result that you can see here is Remix Ethereum IDE. Just click on this first link here and it will open up this IDE. And what you need to do is first just close this one here. And you can see that it comes with contracts folder, script and test. Don't worry about that. So what you're gonna do is to click on this folder right here. Let me just zoom in a little bit. And next is to create a new file in this folder called contracts. So just click on this icon here. And I'm going to call this as my storage.sol. So this is the file extension for Solidity. And here you can see this file is now created and I can start coding here. So now let's first start with the Pragma Solidity, and this is the versions. And before that, you can also come to this first file here. It's called storage, right? So you can see that it's Pragma Solidity and this is the version number. So we can basically just copy it from here, go back here and paste it here, right? So now let me show you how to compile this file right here. So you can press on Ctrl S on Windows or Command S on your Mac. So once you click on the save, then you can see that it's compiled. You can also click on this button right here as well. So here we can also see what is going on. It says that's warning because it's required the license identifier and we have to provide that, right? So if you click on this file right here, you can also see that it is now using this license. So let's just put it on top of the file. So right here it is using the GPL 3.0. GPL here means general public license and it is free to use. You can also try to use this as well, right? Unlicensed, so it should work fine as well. So now let's just try to press on Command S to save this file again. So once I save, you can see there is no issue right now. And next I want to show you is instead of using this version, so this means that it allows us to use from the versions greater or equal to 0.7 or less than 0.9.0. So if I click on this icon here, when I scroll up, you can now see that the current compiler it is using version 0.8.7 and there's a lot more you can see. So by default it's like this, and you can also change it as well. So I can change it to using this symbol right here, 0.8.0. What does this mean? This means that this allows us to use all of the version in the version 8 but not version 9, right? So you can just specify it like this. And next I want to show you is to start creating a contract. So very simple contract should be contract start with this keyword and we call this a name. I'm going to call this as my storage, and inside here we can start coding. I can also close this file right here as well. So first what you will need to do is just start learning about variables. So there's a list of variables in Solidity. So the first one and the most important one is the U into 56, right? And I can just call this variable as my number equal to 10. So what does this mean? This means that U in it's unassigned integer. It accepts 0 or positive number only, but not negative number. And the 256 here, it means 256 bits that it allow the amount or the size of the number that can be stored inside this variable called my number. So next is the into 56. I can just call this as my int integer equal to minus 10 or 100, right? So this allow us both negative or positive number. All right, so next one should be the string. So string, I can just call my string equal to says my text, right? Next is boolean, so it is bool, and call this as my boolean. We can set it to true or false. This would work fine, so let's just go with the true. And next is the address. So working with the address, this is very important. So now let's just call this as my address equal to the address in Ethereum. So let's just click on this button right here, deploy and run, right? And you can also see that the environment it's selected by default is JavaScript VM, and location is set to London. So this is the fake environment that we don't actually need to have the real account, right? By default, it allows us to have 100 Ether. So this is, we can start with the 100 Ether. We will get into this in a bit. So let's now just copy the address from the list here, right? So click on this icon and we can just simply paste it here, right? So this is the format of the address. Next is the bytes. So it's byte 32, and I just call this as my bytes equal to my bytes, right? So what is this about? So this is meaning it can store up to 32 letters, right? So why do we need to use this instead of using string? That's because using the byte 32, it use less gas fee. Here you can see that this is the value that generally when we try to deploy the contract here, we need to pay for the gas fee. So it will deduct it from this 100 Ether. I will also show you in a minute as well. So just to make sure that the byte 32, it can store up to 32 letters and it use less gas fee. Now we know a little bit about the data type in Solidity. So next I want to show you is the function. So function, how to declare the function. Well, this is, I can just comment this for now just to make sure that you know this is the function. So to use the function, we can declare this with the keyword function and call this function as store, and this is the parameter that we can also give. So let's just call this as uint256, and the parameter would be called as number, and we can also set this public. And what we're gonna do inside this function, it will be my number here, right? So my number equal to number, simple as that. What we want to do is to simply allow the user to enter a number into this function, and then we want to set this number here. So by default this is 10. If I enter 100, then this number will change to 100. Okay, so this is the function. So I want to now trying to deploy this one real quick. Press on the Command S. Okay, so now you can see we have the deploy button. So simply click on this deploy, and now you can see our contract is successfully deployed, right? So I can click on this to expand under the deploy contracts. So when I click on the expand, now you can see there's a button. So basically this is the function, right? And this is a uint256 number is coming from here. So meaning we can just try to enter any number and click on this button. So it sent a new transaction, right? So I can also click on this to expand, and let's just take a look. You can see the gas that we have to pay. This is the amount of the gas. And then down here, we can also see the decoded input. We enter 100 right here. Okay. So what happened when I try to change this number to 200? Click again, then it sends another one, and down here it's showing us 200. So what happened if I want to see the 200 number right here instead of clicking on the debug, right, to see the information, right? So I don't want to do that. How do I do it? Well, basically I just need to enter the keyword. It's called public. Okay, so by default this is set to internal, and we want to see this number here in the under the deploy contract. Then just add the keyword. And also this is actually no longer required. I can just comment this out and then try to press on the Command S again, and it's successfully compiled. Next I want to do is to click on the deploy button again. So clicking on this button, and now you can see we have another one. So here we set this to public, and that's the reason why we can see this button right here. So clicking on this, by default we set it to 10, right? So it's 10. What happens if I enter this as 1,000? So enter 1,000 here. This is through the parameter of this store function. So click on this button here. So now what happened when I click on this my number? So when I click my number, it changed from 10 to 1,000, right? Because we set a new number in this function here, and it reset the default number 10 to 1,000. So now you can see that this is how we declare a function in the Solidity. And back to the contract here, if you learn about the object-oriented programming, or OP, either in Java or C#, right? The contract here similar to a class, if you can think of it like that. So next is to show you how to create the view function. So instead of function, the view function, right? Using the keyword function, retrieve, this is a name we can give, right? And then this is the public view, and return. We want to return something. So this one will be uint 256, and inside here we basically returning my number. Okay, just like that. And what happened now when I try to compile this again, pressing Ctrl S, and we can also try to click on this to remove the existing deploy contract as well, right? Or you can just simply click on this to remove all of this. So you can just click on this icon here, click on the deploy, and now this is a new one, and you can see we have the retrieve. So when I click on this here, you can see it's 10 because it's coming from this right here. So if I change this to 100, click on the store, and then click on my number, we can also see the result here. And we can also click on the retrieve, it's showing us 100 as well. Instead of using this as the public, we can just get rid of this and we use the view function instead, right? So save it, try it again, deploy, go down here and click on retrieve with 10. If I change it to 500, store, retrieve, and it's showing 500. And this public keyword here, there's actually 4 of this. So there's public, private, internal, and external. But for now, we just need to understand about the public should be fine. Okay, so what about next? Next, I want to show you is to create a new type using the Solidity. So it's like the object in JavaScript. Okay, so how to declare that? Well, we can just simply use the keyword struct. So struct, and then this is the we call this type as people, and inside this we can just use uint 256. This is age, and it also accept another one string, its name, right? So just these two property, and then down here we can start using this new type. It's called people. Then the keywords would be public and each person. So we call this as persons. This will be people. We need to give the age. So let's say 20, and then the name. Let's just call this person as Jack, and don't forget the semicolon at the end as well. So let's just compile this, save it, and then let's also remove this and click on the deploy. Down here, the contract has already deployed, and we can now see we have store, we have person. So I want to click on this person here. So when I click here, you can see we set the age to 20, right? And then the string to the name is Jack. So that's how you can see this is how create a new type in Solidity. And I think that should be it for this first tutorial. And before that, I want to also show you another one as well. So when I scroll up a little bit, you can now see instead of showing 100 ether, we used up a few of the gas fee, right? So it deducted from here. And I will also show you about the weight conversions as well. But for now, that would be it. And if you have any question, let me know as well. In next tutorial, let's learn about the array and the other stuff. Until then, see you guys in the next video.